Well, good morning, everyone. We finally got this thing figured out. We're still figuring out technical things with all of this. And I was telling, I don't know, Matt, if you saw it. I messaged you. I said, I probably should practice this a little bit more before we, like the morning of, be like, Dale, this crap ain't working. So we're getting there. We're getting this all
I
figured out. Good morning, everyone. I am Dale Maxwell, and this is Matt LaMonte, and we're doing a little thing I call the investigation into kickassery. And I am super excited what this has turned out to be. I started this only a couple weeks before Christmas break, and I just reached out and I said, "Hey, this is what I want to do. Here's what I want to do it." And the response has been it's been insane. It's been amazing. And already going into the first of the new year, I've got guys like Matt here, who is an author and has really done some cool things with his life, which we're going to learn about here in a moment. But we also have some really cool people coming up very soon as well. So with all that said, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you being here with me this morning. How you doing, man?
real good, real good. I'm super excited to be here. You're doing some really neat stuff. I've been following you for a little while, and I'm tickled to be here.
Wow. Someone's following me. Yay. All right. Hey, bud. So I see my cameras are backwards. One camera shows this, one camera shows this. So Matt, who are you? What do you do? Where do you come from? Give us the elevator pitch.
Okay. Yeah, this is. I don't do this very often, so talking about myself's a little bit different. Um, I'm from Salmon, Idaho, and I live here with my family. I have a wife, and we have four children together. Um, I I do a lot of things. Currently, I'm in construction, but as you said, I'm an author, and I have written a couple of children's books, and I've got more planned in the series. I'm also working on another book. Um, I decided I wanted to be a writer, so a couple of years ago, I started a blog, and that first blog was called Idaho Doesn't Suck, and it's I'm not writing that blog anymore, but it was mostly humorous stories about myself and my family and doing crazy stuff in the outdoors, and that was a lot of fun. Um, but I started to get interested in self development and self improvement, and I decided that maybe I wasn't as successful as I could be, as I wanted to be, and that's when I started another blog, and it's My Success Immersion. And what that is, it's about me trying to transform my personality so that I can, achieve the success that I want and be the example for my kids that I want to be. In a
Awesome.
nutshell, it's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. Okay. So what was, some people have these stories where, they fall off a roof, you're in construction, or you have these near death experiences or whatever. What was your catalyst to say, I need to suck a whole lot less and I need to be amazing?
It was a lot of things. It just I've done you know different jobs, um, careers, kind of never really had anything that I was really passionate about, and didn't feel like I was really living up to my potential. And what kind of got me started thinking about it was, my children are getting older. My oldest daughter is 16, almost 17.
Wow.
And I started thinking about, how do I teach my kids how to be successful in life? Well, the sad part about that was, I'm not terribly successful. So I figured, well, if I can learn to be successful, then I'll be an example to them. So my theory is, and this is kind of evolving as I go, I can improve myself into success. And that's what success immersion is every day I'm trying to learn and trying to improve, and every everything that I do how can I improve it? How can I add value? And how can I learn new things to grow and, you know, turn myself around? Because I've always been really negatively focused. And, you know, I've had some anger, and I've had that inner voice that just says, you know, you've got problems, and that causes, you know, contention with everybody else. So that's what I've been working on, trying to improve myself to get to where I can be a good example for my children.
Well, and that just creates that negative spiral. You know, that just creates that when we start, because I'm dealing with this in a big way, man. I'm with you on that, and I'm excited to see someone that's, you know, we came from the same area. We come from a lot of the same background. Of course, not the same background. I mean, you guys live in a different part of town, blah 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 blah. But you know, the thing with small town Idaho, small town America, is that let's just be honest for a second. We're not taught about money. We're not taught about how to better ourselves. We're not taught a lot of these things that you and I later in life are just figuring out, oh, this might be slightly important for me to have a concept of what to do. And I'm not putting down Sam, and I'm not putting down small town America. I'm not, it's just that that's the community, that's the reality. And it's super awesome to see you and others that I know who are stepping outside of that comfort zone, stepping outside of that nice warm fuzzy blanket of shit storms, right? Because something, and I'll get off my soapbox here in a second, probably not. So, is that we become comfortable with crap, and crap becomes our constant. And until we're able to become uncomfortable, to get outside of that comfort zone, we're not going to grow. And so I applaud you huge, man, for jumping outside of that. And if nothing else, accepting that I need to work on me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's so true. You know, I didn't know about money, and that caused me a whole bunch of problems in my adult life. I mean, I've pretty much made every mistake you can make financially, in relationships, and with my kids, and with jobs. And you know, I've had a lot of different experiences, but I did learn to work really hard young, and that probably helped me. Um, when I was 19, I started my first business, um, and mainly because I didn't have a choice. You know, I worked for a roofing contractor, and he got a divorce, folded up, left town, and so I didn't have a job, but I had a roofing gun and a compressor and a ladder, and so I started a roofing company, and I ended up growing that into um, a general contractor, you know, building houses, and that's a whole other story. But that business is gone now, and I was a police officer here for 10 years and a deputy sheriff, and I've just recently come back to construction. I've done it all along, uh, you know, for the last 20 years, a little over 20 years, with a few breaks here and there. Even when I was a police officer, I still did construction. I worked, there was a lot of times I worked two full-time jobs, just the nature of shift work, you know, weekend and nights. I still had a lot of time. But I have, you know, really big hopes for what I want to do going forward. And I feel I'm not really kicking ass right now, but I'm preparing to kick ass.
There you go. I like it. But here's the thing, man. You know, you're kicking ass because you've recognized that in yourself. You are striving to go to the second step. So many times, and you know, we could name names, but we're not. We see people in our lives, in our communities, that we know that they could be way better. We know they have the capacity to do way more than they do. But the old saying of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? We're not going to make changes until we choose to make changes, until something inside of us either clicks, we make a choice, we make a decision, whatever the case may be. So what made you choose to be a children's author? how did you go that direction?
It just, I just really like children, and I feel like there's a certain amount of skills that aren't being taught. Um, as far as what it takes to get along with other people, communicate with other people, and to um, accomplish things that you want to accomplish. And also, just for the sake of reinforcing what what I was learning, if I could teach it to someone young, I thought that would be a good way to start. Um, Plus, I've kind of had to figure a lot of this out as I've gone, how to start a blog and how to put ads on it, and how to do a Kindle book, and how to put stuff on Amazon and self-publish. And it's a lot of stuff. I mean, look what you're doing. This is it's
There's a lot to it, man. And that's amazing. And there we're living in an age right now where we almost have zero excuses not to try these things. Because yes, you're absolutely right. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot to learn. And I'm learning every single day through all of this process. But at the same time, it's never been easier. Well, not easier, maybe more accessible. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So who's Matt going to be when he grows up? Where are you going with all this?
so I have this picture in my head of being someone who does seminars and trainings and videos and writes books, and I really want to help people. And I know that I'm a ways from that, but it, as I write, I'm becoming a better writer, and as I speak, I'm trying to become a better speaker, because I'm really not very good at this at all. My Facebook lives are horrible. Like, I have all this stuff I want to say, and then I just forget everything. So
Yeah, it happens to me all the time too, man. I'm like, uh, it's all good, brother. It's all good, man. Well, but see, here's the thing though, is you're doing it. You're doing it. I'm trying to coach a couple people on this whole Facebook Live thing right now. And, people push back on me all the time. They're like, oh, but you're so good at it. And you're so amazing. I'm like, do you have a clue where I came from? Do you have a clue who I was when I first started out in life? This was not going to happen. This takes time. This takes practice. This takes falling flat on your face, screwing the pooch, asking for forgiveness, and doing it again. And you're doing it. You're okay. So neither one of us are the most polished presenters in the world. What do you freaking do? It doesn't matter. We have a message. We have something we want to get out to the world. That's what's important.
yeah, and that's the thing. From the beginning, I gave myself permission to suck, and so that's, I'll suck until I don't.
There you
And
go.
practice is the only way to get good at anything, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing. So
So
it's a lot of fun.
when you get to so you're already an author, but you want to be more of an author. You want to
Yeah.
help people of, I'm guessing, all ages. You want to be a professional speaker. You want to do more video work, all these things. So what's your process to get there? So then that way, because you and I are I mean, I see you as a step beyond me, because you're already an author. You already have done the blog thing. I haven't got that far yet. I'm working on it right now. But for those of us who are just starting out, who have this wish, want, and desire, what's your biggest piece of advice to everybody?
My biggest piece of advice is work at it every day. I mean, 7 days a week, even if it's for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you have time for, and just practice and increase your knowledge. I mean, just a little bit every day builds into a ton of progress. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I I feel like I've made a really big change in my personality, just in the way I interact with other people and my family and my outlook. I still have that little voice in my head sometimes that tries to be a little bit naggy and negative, but for the most part, I'm fairly positive.
Good. And then have you found that as you've gone through this process, have you found that you're migrating towards certain types of people versus what you've hung out with in the past? Have you changed your, I guess, friends or the people you hang out with? Has that like changed in response to this?
Yes, definitely. I'm engaging in different activities, and the people I hang out with are really creative, positive people. That have goals that they want to accomplish, things they want to do, and that made it possible for me to connect with you. And some of the people that follow you are really interesting people. I like read all the comments and like, oh, that's cool. Watch the interviews, and it's some neat people. And it's even the things that I watch on Facebook, and I don't watch the news anymore. TV every once in a while sucks me in, but I like to read positive, uplifting articles and watch videos that are going to give me some kind of little tidbit or a good feeling. I want to just surround myself with things that are going to uplift me and have a positive effect.
Isn't it crazy how when we make decisions and choices, and that's my opinion is all of life is based on choices, period, and dealing with the positive and the negatives that come from that. That's my whole thing. Is once we start making certain decisions, they lead us down roads that are either really sucky or they're just absolutely amazing. And I love watching how that works for other people because, of course, it's for some of us it's easy to see in ourselves, and for some of us we're completely blind to what we're doing, but I love watching that with other people and just seeing. I'm like, okay, they made this decision which then subsequently did this and this, and look at where they're going. That's so exciting. I love that.
So yeah, it's definitely a process, and it's being consistent. I've found is the best way for me to get things accomplished, and even if I don't, nail my goals or get everything done when I want to, um, it's I'm progressing, and the things that you're doing, I've seen just a steady forward progression, and your videos are really cool, and
I appreciate that, man.
to see your body language stuff. I'm really interested in that. Uh,
So am I. I'm excited to see what that turns into too.
really cool.
And something, I don't know if you saw my chat with Andy Smith. Andy has been a mentor of mine since I was in 4-H there in Salmon. And after our chat the other day, a couple weeks ago, we were just talking a little bit more, and I was talking about all the bullshit that goes on up here in my head. This internal struggle that is just it's almost tangible at days. It just raises the blood pressure, and just this battle that we all have. And I was kind of complaining about it, and I was kind of putting myself down a little bit because I'm like, I just need to get over this stupidity. And the thing that I loved about Andy, he just stopped me. He's like, Dale, shut it, just stop. He's like, guess what, you're human.
Yeah,
And that stopped me in my tracks, man. Totally stopped me in my tracks because I'm like, yeah, yeah, we all are flawed beings, and we all have shit we suck at. We all have things that we have to work on. And one of the things I struggle with is I get down on myself for not being better now.
I
And
agree.
that's hard.
Yeah. And and that's why it is so important to just reflect once in a while and look at the things that you've actually accomplished, things that you've done. I mean, and you've done a ton. I mean, just in the the few months, 6 months or so that I've been, maybe a little longer than that, but I've been following you. You've done some amazing things and moved and built the floor out of pallets and heavy metal playground and T-shirts and body language and interviews and videos. It's amazing. I mean, you're always doing stuff. Uber, the movies.
Yeah. You know, and Matt, real quick, man, I appreciate you saying that because you're absolutely right. I really appreciate you saying that. I really do. Because for me, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. For me, I'm not successful enough. I'm not enough. Right. And that's one of those things that are going on. And I do have to hear that. You have to hear that. We all have to hear that. No, that's part of this whole kick-assery thing is for me to take Matt LaMonte and say, world, this dude, this dude kicks ass, right? You know, and every once in a while we have to hear that ourselves. So
Yeah,
thanks, man.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Oh, you bet. And I'm the same way. I feel like I'm not getting enough done. I'm not successful enough, and that's the whole reason I'm doing this. It's so that I can get after it.
Nice, nice. All right, man. I know you got to get on with your day and you got to get stuff going as well so that you can make your impact in your world. But is there anything else that you want to tell folks that you want to share that is profound and amazing, which is everything that you say, but
Oh, no, you know what? Just if you're thinking about doing something, even just have an interest, do it. Try it. You'll never know if you don't take that first step. And if it doesn't work out, you have an experience. You learned a
mhm.
lesson, some new knowledge, and then move on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
thanks so much for having me on here. This has been a lot of fun. You're doing amazing things, and I hope that we can keep in touch. I'd love that.
Well, careful what you ask for because I might just have to do that.
Sounds
So,
good.
guys, for everyone else out there, man, this is already going to be an amazing year. You know, Matt kicked it off this year right off the bat, and it's crazy because I put out the feelers. You know, I put out. I'm like sending it to Matt and 4 or 5 other people. And I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm opening up the schedule. Pick your times, whatever works. And it was just like ding, 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 ding. I mean, it was just. I have this week and next week already booked, and I, I have to send out a bunch of stuff for the third week in January already. And Matt, thanks for just jumping in and just saying I'll be your first of the year, man. I'll just knock this out of the park, and I really appreciate that, brother. I really do.
To be honest, I was just like, oh, I don't know. I almost said no, but I figured if I'm scared, that it's probably the thing I should be doing. So
There you go. There you go. That's a great way to put it, man. And there's nothing scary about this. It's so interesting. And I was there. I was at the top of this list. I was at the top of this list for a long time. I started my daily drives 3 years ago now. And the reason I started doing my daily drives in my car while I was driving is, as anyone from rural West knows, you spend a lot of windshield time, and we do a lot of our most profound thinking driving between town to town, right? And I was like, you know what? Why not? And I just pushed record, and I just started recording thoughts. And it sucked. The first, talking about failing forward, they all sucked. They were horrible. They were horrific. I still threw them out there. And then people were like, Dale, that was a good point. Dale, I love what you're doing. And then I'd take a sabbatical or I'd take some time off and I'd start getting people calling. They're like, where you at? Where you at? I need you to do these things, and I'm like, wow, this is actually something. So yeah, man, I appreciate you being on here. For everyone else, don't be surprised if I start reaching out to you as well and saying, hey, you want to chat with me? Let's have some fun. There's nothing painful about this. We're just talking. And if you noticed, Matt, between the time he first started on this morning until he just spoke a moment ago, way more easy, way more laid back. He was so much more comfortable. So guess what? He didn't die. I didn't die. We're all good. Because I'm getting a lot of pushback. We're like, I'm not going to talk live on the internet. I thought I'm not. It's just a chat. So, guys, thank you so much. Keep tabs on starting next week, Matt. I am going to start doing my body language videos starting next week. So we're going to start with some handshakes, and then we're going to go on from there. So, Matt, thanks a bunch, man. Stick on here with me for just a few minutes. Everybody else, have an awesome day. Keep smiling, because guess what? Somebody needs it. Thanks, Matt.